On New Year's Eve, procrastinator Teddy rushes to a party where he's supposed to meet with his girlfriend. He makes it barely in time to reach for his girl and kiss her when the countdown hits midnight, but after the kiss is over, he realizes he mistook a woman named Leanne for his girlfriend because they're wearing the same dress. Teddy apologizes and offers Leanne to get her a drink before he realizes he isn't feeling so well. It turns out that during the kiss, Teddy accidentally swallowed what Leanne was eating, which had nuts he's allergic to. Leanne runs to get help and that's when Teddy's girlfriend Becca finds him, but he only tells her he ate nuts by accident. Then Leanne comes back with an EpiPen, and after Teddy uses it to feel better, he says goodbye to her, although they both can feel a spark when their hands brush. Shortly afterward, Teddy breaks up with Becca and starts dating Leanne. Their relationship is wonderful and quickly becomes more serious, but many years pass before Teddy finally asks her to marry him. After Leanne says yes, Teddy takes her to his father's grave to give him the news, and Teddy admits he wishes he had popped the question sooner so his dad could have been here with them, which causes Leanne to tease him for taking so long. Leanne wonders if Teddy needs more time, and he admits that would be nice. Then, Leanne returns to the car to give Teddy a last moment with his dad, but he isn't alone. A stranger approaches Teddy to congratulate him on the wedding and wonders when it's happening, but Teddy admits they haven't chosen a date yet because he can't rush into things. The stranger points out that if Teddy waits too long it may be too late, then she snaps her fingers as she explains sometimes you wake up and notice a whole year had gone by just like that. She can see Teddy is a good man that feels a bit lost, so she's going to give him a very special wedding present. Suddenly they're interrupted by Leanne, who was worried about Teddy taking to so long, and the strange casually lets her know Teddy chose the wedding date to be in 2 weeks. Teddy tries to deny it, but now he's under pressure and ends up accepting to make Leanne happy. 2 weeks later, Teddy and Leanne are having a wonderful wedding, and Teddy's best friend Sam gives a best man speech teasing him about his bad time habits, especially the fact he took so long to propose to Leanne. After the speech is over, Teddy tells Sam he isn't that bad, so to prove his point Sam asks when the honeymoon's happening. But Teddy hasn't even started to plan it because he's in the middle of a few projects and he has to work out how much paid leave he's got. Seeing how Sam's indeed right, Teddy promises to take care of it tomorrow morning. The newlyweds spend a wonderful day together at the party before going home to their wonderful newly bought house, where they already make plans to transform a room into Leanne's writing space, and maybe get a Great Dane. When the couple starts getting frisky, Teddy explains to her that he proposed with the ring his dad literally made himself for his mom, and Leanne promises to never take it off. Then, Leanne goes to the bathroom to freshen up, and Teddy begins looking at the presents, finding a plant from a friend and a mysterious white box with a can inside. The can doesn't have any kind of label on it, but it does sound like it has a small object inside. However, the card says do not open for 10 years with no signature. Teddy assumes it's a gag gift and ignores it in favor of spending a great night with his wife. The next morning, Teddy wakes up late and is shocked to see how much tidying up Leanne has done in a few hours. He also thinks their plant grew suddenly overnight. Leanne is in the bathroom and keeps mentioning something about their anniversary which confuses Teddy. This confusion only gets worse when Leanne comes out with a big belly. At first Teddy thinks it's fake, but after touching it he can tell it's real, and Leanne reminds him she's 18 weeks pregnant. Teddy begins freaking out, not understanding how all this could happen overnight, and Leanne begins to worry, wondering if this is a prank or a stroke. Leanne grabs her phone to show Teddy pictures of their wedding and prove it happened a year ago, meaning today it's their first anniversary. As Teddy begins having a panic attack, Leanne wonders if he's doing all this as a way to cover up he's forgotten about their anniversary and promises she doesn't mind. Then she gives him her gift, which is an envelope with pieces of paper to choose the color for the baby's room. This is because tradition dictates that on the first anniversary is paper. Teddy wants to leave the color choice for later because he's too confused, but Leanne gets frustrated by Teddy leaving things always for the last second, which makes it hard on her to take care of their everyday necessities. Their argument is interrupted by the baby moving in the belly, and the shock of feeling it under his hands makes Teddy apologize and choose purple before lying down to rest. After sleeping for a few hours, Teddy wakes up and notices Leanne doesn't have her big belly anymore. He thinks the weirdness of yesterday was all a dream until Leanne mentions their baby, who is in another room. Teddy starts freaking out as he walks through the house and notices the passing of time again, getting more nervous when he picks up a phone and sees all the pictures of another year he can't remember. Leanne brings the baby and tries to make Teddy hold her, getting angry when Teddy at first refuses. Once he has the baby in his hands, Teddy is amazed at the fact this is his child, but he keeps angering Leanne when he calls her a he and complains about how ugly the name Tallulah is. To calm her down, Teddy tries to explain he seems to be traveling through time, but obviously Leanne doesn't believe him and accuses him of pretending to have a breakdown again like he did during their last anniversary. She thinks Teddy feels like he's lost time because he spent most of the last 2 years at work and gave up on his dream to study photography, so Teddy promises he'll quit after earning some more money for the sake of their baby. Leanne takes his word and decides to give him the anniversary present, which is a t-shirt with a picture of the family because the second anniversary is cotton. Teddy can't tell when the picture was taken and tries to guess it was during their honeymoon, which immediately angers Leanne again. They never went on a honeymoon because Teddy never booked it like he promised, and she can't believe he forgot about their anniversary 2 years in a row. Teddy apologizes again and promises he'll never forget again, so after Leanne leaves to feed the baby, he calls Sam to ask him for a favor. Sam needs to add a reminder on his phone for next year on the same date to pick Teddy up and bring him some sort of anniversary present. After hanging up, Teddy grabs an orange and hides it inside the plant's pot just in time for another year to instantly pass. When Teddy reaches inside the pot again, he finds the rotten orange, confirming that he's jumping a year ahead every time. At that moment, a horn is heard outside, and Teddy runs out to hug Sam, surprised by how older he looks. Then the two of them go for a walk, during which Teddy tries to explain what's going on, but Sam doesn't believe him either. But since his friend is so desperate for help, Sam plays along and comments this is very similar to the movie Groundhog Day, where the protag ends the curse after having the perfect day. Teddy thinks that makes sense, but he still asks Sam to add a new reminder on his phone just in case. He also asks for the gift and is disappointed to see Sam has brought a unicorn plushie because he misheard Teddy on the phone and thought he said nursery instead of anniversary. Teddy rushes back to his house to make the day perfect, but Leanne is already angry because he was supposed to be watching over Tallulah and he just left the girl alone without a word. Thankfully, Tallulah's still safe inside the house, and Teddy gives her the plushie, which prompts the girl to call him daddy. This excites Teddy because he thinks it's her first word, but Leanne quickly corrects him, explaining daddy was her 12th word because Teddy's always away working and he wasn't here to hear the first. Teddy snaps, saying he works to give them a good life, and Leanne points out this is exactly what their couples counselor warned them about. Hearing about couples therapy upsets Teddy because it means the relationship isn't going well, and Leanne brings out 2 letters they wrote because their therapist asked them to read them the next time they have a fight. Leanne's letter says she loves him, but she doesn't feel like Teddy's the same guy she married. She also understands neither of them is happy, but to make this work Teddy needs to spend more time with his family. Then Leanne pressures Teddy into reading his letter, but as soon as he opens it, he sees he didn't write nice things and tries to drop it, causing Leanne to get it from his hand to read it herself. Teddy wrote he knows this isn't working because he feels pressured by her. He knows she resents him for working so hard, but somebody has to provide for the family while she chases that pipe dream of becoming a writer. Leanne finally understands Teddy is jealous because he didn't follow his dream, and when he points out photography wouldn't pay much, she replies that she would still be happy with a more humble home because she would actually have her husband with her. At that moment, Tallulah calls for her mother, so before going to see her, Leanne gives Teddy the anniversary present. Since the 3rd year is leather, she gives him a wallet to put his precious money in. At that moment, another year magically passes, and Teddy finds himself alone at home. Sam shows up because he still has the reminder on his phone, and Teddy begins freaking out when Sam mentions he and Leanne are separated now. The fact Teddy suddenly sees himself in the mirror and notices all the white hair doesn't help, and he continues to have a breakdown while Sam shares some things about his own troubles with his body, like the fact he's found lots of fat on his back and a weird mole on his shoulder. Teddy ignores all that and asks Sam for help again, which allows him to learn Leanne only moved a few blocks away to stay close to his daughter. Then Teddy calls Leanne and puts her on speaker, surprising her by wishing her a happy anniversary. Leanne's impressed that he finally remembered and asks him if he knows what kind of gift is next, so Teddy makes Sam Google it. The answer is fruit, inspiring Teddy to invite Leanne to come over to have some fruit together because he bought a bunch of it. But as soon as Leanne accepts, Teddy gets so excited that he forgets to mute the phone and asks Sam to go fetch him some fruit. Seeing as it had been a trick all along, Leanne turns down the invitation and hangs up. Frustrated, Teddy goes to his fridge to grab a drink and feels time another year passing in front of him. He finds a woman in the room and kisses her thinking it's Leanne, but it's actually Becca, who came over last night after a drunk Teddy texted her saying he was lonely. Becca came over because she was lonely too after her divorce, and after Teddy has to stop her from getting frisky with him again. The doorbell rings and it's Leanne, so Teddy pushes Becca through the door before letting Leanne in. Leanne wants to apologize for ignoring Teddy's texts and calls even if she had been the one to ask for some space, but she's starting to miss Teddy, and this makes Teddy so excited that he gives a very poor and vague apology before trying to get frisky with Leanne on the couch. This allows Leanne to find a bra on the couch and 2 wine glasses on the coffee table, which means there's another woman in the apartment. Teddy tries to deny it, but Becca speaks from outside to confirm it, and Leanne slaps Teddy for tricking her like this before asking for a divorce. Then she leaves, getting more upset when she goes outside and sees it's Teddy's ex. Afterward, Teddy asks Becca to leave and to promise she'll never answer his texts or calls again. Becca swears this will be the last time they'll see each other, but at that moment, a year magically passes again and Teddy freaks out when he discovers Becca has moved in with him. Teddy calls Sam to ask him to pick him up, then he breaks up with Becca, explaining he still loves Leanne. Becca confesses Teddy wasn't her first choice either and that she's still upset over losing her husband. The reason why they're together now is because they're afraid of being lonely and they should have used their time better to work on their marriages. Giving up, Becca accepts to leave the house and tells Teddy to go after Leanne. Sam arrives to pick up Teddy looking absolutely awful, and after lots of pushing from Teddy, Sam explains he has skin cancer as he takes off his hat to show him what chemo is doing to him. Teddy should know all this, so the conversation turns really awkward when he begins asking all the sad questions as if it was the first time, causing Sam to cut it short by confessing he's scared but determined to beat cancer and live 50 more years. Afterward, Teddy asks Sam to take him to Leanne's house, which surprises Sam because she's still living 2 blocks away and Teddy could have walked. Sam also calls her Teddy's ex-wife, confirming their relationship has only gotten worse. Teddy rings Leanne's bell and when she opens the door, he's delighted to see she got a Great Dane puppy. After noticing the beautiful garden and telling Leanne they should put a pool there for Tallulah, he explains he's here to talk to her, and Leanne assumes he finally signed the divorce papers. Teddy freaks out and comments he'll never sign any papers, angering Leanne and making her kick him out because they should only be seeing each other when Teddy comes to have his visits with Tallulah. Teddy takes a step back as another year passes, and he ends up falling in a kiddie pool that has suddenly appeared in the garden. The door opens and a man called Patrick appears, who reminds Teddy he shouldn't come over if it isn't to pick up his daughter. Leanne comes out then and Teddy freaks out when he realizes this man is her boyfriend, so when Leanne hears Teddy hasn't signed the papers yet and tries to kick him out, Teddy refuses and begins an argument with Patrick. Leanne cuts him short and tells him to grow up before explaining she's finally happy because she has a guy that actually cares about her and her writing career has taken off. Teddy's starting to see she's better off without him, and when he notices she lost the wedding ring, he sees it as a sign and finally signs the divorce papers. Afterward, he asks for permission to walk the puppy, and when the two of them reach the beach, another year passes. Now the puppy is a huge dog, and Teddy is sporting a very long beard. He finds a chocolate bar on the sand that contains nuts and makes him wonder if he should use it to end things, but before he takes a bite, a little girl asks him if she's okay. Teddy realizes this is 8-year-old Tallulah, so he puts himself together and spends a wonderful afternoon with his daughter, making sure to teach her to chase after her dreams. When he takes her home, he asks if he's a good parent, and Tallulah admits she wants to spend more time with him. She also wants more Poonie Chews toys. Leanne chooses that moment to come out and mention Teddy's beard looks ugly, so he promises to shave it. Then Teddy asks about Patrick and learns things between him and Leanne aren't well, which prompts Teddy to genuinely say he's sad to hear that because he wanted her to be happy. Then they part ways, but on his way out, Teddy realizes he didn't wish Leanne a happy anniversary. When he walks back to the house, another year passes, and he finds himself with glasses and no beard. There's nobody home, so Teddy tries to call Sam, but his line is dead. When he checks out his social media, he's destroyed to learn Sam has died of cancer. Teddy rushes to the cemetery to visit Sam's grave, ranting about the fact he wasted all this time and didn't spend enough with his best friend. He's suddenly interrupted when the stranger shows up explaining that she was the one that gave him the curse as a wedding gift so he could learn how valuable time is. She learned this when someone else gave the curse to her, allowing her to discover she was about to marry a guy she didn't love and that she didn't even like men at all, thus she got to spend her years with a wonderful woman. Teddy thinks that sounds nice and all, but unlike her, he has tried to make everything perfect and failed, which makes the stranger laugh because making everything perfect is a stupid idea since life is never perfect. In order to give him a clue, the stranger mentions she and her brother used to play with tin cans, and she disappears at the same time Teddy remembers the weird gift he got at his wedding. Understanding what he needs to do, Teddy runs to see Leanne, who isn't living with Patrick anymore after he left her because he thought she was still in love with Teddy. After he brings a box with old things from another room, Teddy wonders if Leanne truly still loves him and asks her to remember all the good things instead of the bad. Leanne begins mentioning all her favorite memories of their marriage and admits she misses Teddy, thus he uses that moment to take the can out. The card said to wait 10 years because the 10th anniversary is tin, so the two of them finally open the can and are shocked to find the wedding ring inside. Teddy explains there's no reason for them not to be together because life will always be complicated and says their precious time will restart now before kissing her. Teddy's time suddenly begins rewinding and he suddenly finds himself in bed on the morning after his wedding. After checking the can and confirming it's empty, he hugs his wife before doing all the things he promised to do ages ago. First he books their honeymoon on the computer, then he calls his boss to ask for his paid leave and cancel all his overtime so he can study photography and be with his family, promising to quit once he finds a job he actually likes. He also calls Sam to tell him to put a reminder on his phone to see a doctor about his skin every year and to invest in Poonie Chews. Once that's over, Teddy makes a mental note to send the can to Becca to help her fix her marriage as well. Then he tells Leanne they should paint the room purple and call their future child Tallulah because he loves that name. Leanne loves it too, and she's happy to start her life with this new Teddy that wastes no time being happy. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.